All right. Hopefully we are back. Unfortunately, unfortunately, I have a bad feeling that there's not a lot I can do in the short term to make that not happen again. So as you may have likely noticed, the stream cut out there. I installed and updated my OBS, and apparently I shouldn't have updated that recently. So I was trying to fix something else, and now it's doing this where it's just crashing after a little while. Crashed on me actually right before I started the stream up as well. There's really nothing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do in the immediate. Besides, hope for the best and try to continue on. But if it crashes again, I'll try to come back. Or if it's like really close to the time I would stop, then I may just call it a little bit early. I'll have to try to figure out. How to get it fixed. Maybe revert or something. I'm not sure. In any case, where are we at here? So I have the Metro connected. I did just flash that. This is like an SD card recording thing. I don't really need the code for that, so we can override it with this. We are going to do something a little bit different than what it has here. Hopefully the stream was able to resume without too much trouble. I don't usually have too much of an issue with it falling out, so I don't know if I need to do anything to rotate the key around the streaming token for restream or anything like that, but hopefully it's still working out. Yeah, I think it's okay. Went back to the. That's okay. Yeah, I think it's still going okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, fingers crossed. Hope for the best. Okay, so this will play a note and it will apply the flanger. Yeah. One thing I do want to change though is I don't want to use audio I2S out because I don't have a speaker or anything like that hooked up. I'm going to use USB. Instead. Now I do need to go make sure BootPie is set up. Extra synth IO now. Well, we don't need to play because we're already playing down here. BootPie. Microphone. Okay. I'll do that. We had video as well, which I'm just going to disable because we're not using it. Sample rate here is set to 44.1. I think we're going to need 16K because that's what it's set to here. I mean, we could try. I don't know if it will do that. Okay, doesn't crash or anything. So we need to rescan. Bro. quite loud. Gotta do this without blowing everyone's speakers out here. Okay, so yeah, it's got that wobble in there, which is basically the flanger acting, and we can set it to 44. I was thinking the effects. Some of the effects, I don't know. I was thinking some of the effects were capped at 16K. I think is why I had it set up that way, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, so that's good. That also validates the sample code, which is nice. Let's take a quick read through the arguments and the doc strings and stuff here and make sure everything is more or less in order. Mixing the sample with a copy of itself taken from a very short delay whose length is continuously swept up and down. Moving delay creates the comb filter. Notches sweep through the spectrum, and the feedback path routes the delayed signal back into the delay line to sharpen them into resonant peaks. So there's lots of knobs and stuff we could tweak as well to change the sound. I'm not going to go too far down that rabbit hole today because I just want to get the PR in, not play with the audio exactly. So there's sweeps up from delay towards max delay, so it sweeps between the two, actually. Okay, that's why there's two in this case. What was the other one? Chorus, I think, has two delays as well. Maybe that's the one I was thinking of. Where triangle LFO ranges from 0 to 1 at rate hertz because the sweep runs upward from a floor rather than around a center. Yeah, so that's just saying it's not centered on 0. No combination of delay and depth will go negative. Short delays. This I don't think is really necessary. Max delay, maximum delay, it can sweep in milliseconds. The shortest of the delay in milliseconds. Clamped between the length of one sample and max delay. Frequency of the sweep in hertz, clamped 0 to 20, a rate of 0 holds the delay still. Yeah, so that 0 here would turn off the sweep. You could have the effect, like the Wikipedia was saying, I think, was implying the effect doesn't have to have the sweep, but it often does. So you could have the effect with just the feedback of the delayed line, and it can just be delayed by a static amount if you want. It doesn't have to sweep back and forth. Though I do think it makes a super cool sound while it's sweeping. How much range above that is swept? So the depth. Oh, interesting. How much of the range above delay is swept? Swept upwards towards max delay. I see, right. So we don't always have to... okay, and this actually tells us the math behind it, in fact, as well. We don't always go from delay to max all the way. There's also this depth, which is able to control. Interesting. Yeah, the max almost feels like an extra lever, but it is the same in a bunch of other of these effects. Audio effects and stuff have the same max delay milliseconds that's similar, especially the ones with delay like this is common. I think chorus was the other one I saw it, but I believe there might even be more. Echo maybe as well. Feedback, how much is fed back? So it looks like a percentage, I'm assuming, negative 95% to positive 95%. And negative would invert the polarity of the feedback, which Wikipedia also mentioned was a thing that's done sometimes. Is there a width limit on this? How much of the wet audio? So that's a mix. Yeah, everything has a mix. Invert. And then all of these are common across all the effects. They're like format stuff. And then the example code. And initializing is doing what all? So get max delay, validate the range there, 1 to 100. 1 to 100, is that documented? Not. Is it 0 to 100? 1 to 100. 1 to 100, can't be 0. Otherwise it would be clean audio, right? No delay. Well, it would be doubled up, be feedbacking itself onto itself. Yeah. 100. Range is 1 to 100 channel count, but it has to be 1 or 2. Minimum on the sample rate can't go lower than 1. Bits per sample has to be 8 or 16, and then it creates the object. The init context managers. Get block. Well, get delay milliseconds. Set delay milliseconds. Get rate, set rate. Get depth, set depth. Get feedback, set feedback. Play the sample once when loop false and continuously when loop true. Doesn't block, use playing to block. And it returns itself so that you can do this kind of thing. Play, play, play all the way down your chain. Okay. Oh, looks pretty good. Let's run a pre-commit. Does it? I'm wondering if the width of these doc strings will trip it up, or will maybe pre-commit take care of that? I don't know. Seems like it's okay with it. And then let's do a make docs, make sure that succeeds as well. Right. If there's anything we could do to build to speed up the docs build. One second, I'm gonna check on something real fast, sorry. Actually, I know something else we could check on too is, did this, so just before the stream today, we merged a fix for I2SN, and I wanted to see if that was listed here yet, and it is. So I know what we can do actually. So if this builds, yeah, this built. So let's submit this Flanger PR. Wrench have anything on it yet? Uh-oh. Okay. Okay. This is in, and then one of the things that happened earlier this morning, just before the stream, this was merged for a fix to left justified inside audio I2SN, and as a result of that, the project code for this EP2350 guide needs to change. And I submitted a PR for that, which is approved. I'm going to merge. And I am also going to merge this one, which is for the NAU 88L21 driver. This one is not strictly necessary for the guide because it's mostly in the driver file itself. It's actually just updating doc strings. But it is updating the example, the pass-through example, which the guide code is more or less based on, which is why the guide code had to update as well. So we can get these in too, and then what we need to do is actually update the Learn Guide page. 1 second here, let's do it this way. Okay. So this link went to 730. We actually want to update that. I just pick over the tab that had my S3. I did. We're going to get the link from 1170 or 11170. That is what we are going to link to here. This can be updated to say 84. I'm just going to say 84. I mean, we should either have both zeros or no zeros, and we only had the 8 before we do that. That's all still correct. And then I think that's all we change here, right? Because I updated the code in the PR and that's merged now, so that should change it here. So yeah, the code you get here will match the version of CircuitPython that's linked on the previous page at this point. Yeah, I can verify that because I2SN here. External clock is removed, or not external clock, excuse me, left justified is removed. Used to say left justified right here, equals true. It's removed and it defaults to false, so it got swapped to the other value. And that is exactly what it needs in order to work on that latest version of CircuitPython. We can make sure this link works as well. And we did get PR 11170, which I will just triple check once more. I'm almost positive, yeah, that this is the number 11170 for that. Okay, so we're updated for that now there, which is good. Cool. Close these things. Did this, I mean, I'm sure it has not had time to actually do anything. Oh, it did fail already, though. I was going to say, did it fail? API tests? Build Unix port fails. I think this could be because probably needs to get added somehow to that specifically. And then all of these failed because the Unix port failed, I think. So the Unix port failed, and that has kind of a cascade. I want to say that the Unix port probably fails. What was the MP? Let me look at the files we changed again. So it's, what is that, MK UI defends, is it? One. This is in PY. Yeah, somehow we need to enable this on the Unix port. Would have thought it here was the main thing it needed. Let's take a quick peek in Unix and see if there's anything. Jumps out to me. File that we would need to add it to, which not really is the answer. An audio. This error during export till you just need to add a new Flanger module somewhere for the Unix port. What the issue is. We could be in a bit of a weird spot where it's possible that the copy that this agent is looking at may not have the same problem. Like maybe it's actually listed wherever it needs to be for this one and just not in my other local copy here. Because like I have this copy, which is where I made the branch and pushed the PR from. And the copy that is in here is in its own little sandbox on this Raspberry Pi on my other desk over here. So it is two different copies of code, and it's possible that the one in the sandbox got updated to fix this, whereas the one on my computer didn't. And it looks like the agent will figure it out because it's going to make the Unix port, and so if it succeeds, then it'll be like, it's not failing. And then hopefully it will still be able to tell me the correct place to put it. It can maybe just check its own changes or something. Although, I mean, audio delay. Thought I did, that doesn't actually show me the changes for the branch. I did, like, basically look at all the changes and then copy all the files that were changed. So I thought I got everything, but not. Yeah, it's just a missing entry. Yeah, okay. This is what I was remembering. Yeah. And I was close. I just had to go a couple deeper to get to this file. This is the exact file I was thinking of. Okay, so yeah, we need to go add it to that one, which is in. This would work for any other board that's not Unix, basically. And then for Unix, it's actually ports Unix variants. We go a little deeper here. Variants, and then what is it? Coverage MP here. And then this would list them all, and we basically just add it to this one. I'll just put it in with the rest of the audio delays, and they're not in alphabetical order, so I'm inclined to just add it to the end, I think. Let me try to build it here. XC ports Unix. Do I need to do this? We can just do this from the root, or? So usually when I make CircuitPython, I'll go into the directory, like cd ports Unix if I was doing Unix. Didn't work. Maybe we should try clean. And then one more time. Because sometimes I think a lot of this, some of the stuff gets cached or whatever, and if there was a old build or half build or whatever sitting there, it's possible that it had a cached one or something, but still not working. Did I audio delays Flanger? Did I put that? That's the right thing, right? Did I spell it correctly also? .c. No commas. Needs 2 lines. One for bindings also. That makes sense. There we go. That succeeded. Let it do a clean build just to make sure, and then I'll do pre-commit and push. To be like, I wish I could go back to the PR from here. Found it. Okay, see how that goes. Not that there's really enough time to get all the way into the next thing that I was gonna look at. I can introduce it and get started. Anyway, it doesn't matter if we don't get too far into it. I will mention here, while we're here and more or less towards the end of the stuff that like I said, I had this other thing in mind, but I don't think I'd be able to get very far. But in any case, I'm just going to mention now, since I'll wrap it up in another 10 minutes or so, but knock on wood, the OBS is still running. I haven't said anything, but that's all right. But just in case anything goes wrong, as a reminder, later on today, JP's product pick, you can get a nice discount on product of the week as well. Purchasing there is going to help support open source software like CircuitPython and other open source Arduino drivers and things that Adafruit pays people for. So check that out later today. I will be back next week at the normal time here on Tuesday on the Adafruit channel. If folks, some of you, if you've been watching me for longer, you may know I stream on Saturdays as well usually, but I am actually taking this Saturday off, so no stream. That one's over on my channel, not the Adafruit channel, but no stream on Saturday this week. I will be back Tuesday next week here on the Adafruit channel, and then possibly Saturday on mine the week after, although that's a little ways out. I gotta figure out for sure if that's true or not, but definitely none this weekend. But I should be back Tuesday next week, normal. So, okay, and then I will just go ahead and kind of introduce the next thing that I was going to work on, which is audio USB stereo support. Thank you, Hug Report to Relic IC, Cooper, who implemented this. So USB audio is fairly recent. That's USB audio is what I used to get this input into Audacity earlier from the Metro. The Metro was able to feed into Audacity and just be selected here as a microphone, essentially. And that is using USB audio, and Cooper has added support for stereo to that. So we were mono only here. You can tell, even in Audacity here, we can tell because we only have one track, but here, Cooper added support for stereo. Updates it to assume stereo operation. Mono can be achieved with the argument channel count 1. It will enumerate as stereo, but still, it seems my interpretation of that is it will enumerate as stereo, but play mono. Here to test different configurations. So notes, bits per sample is removed. Always assumed to be 16. That seems reasonable to me. If it, I'd have to look, I guess, a little closer at the code. If it was always 16, then it does seem a little silly to validate int. We would have to know the value of USB bits per sample right here. So this is in shared bindings. We could go look in the repo. Init around 119. It'll be different because it's the PR, but it should be there. It is, bits per sample. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's down a chain, so it's it pretends like it's not going to always be the same thing on some level, but it actually is, right? Because it's set to this variable times 8, and then this variable is hard coded to 2, so we know that's going to be 16. And this is getting passed in down here where it doesn't want to click me to, or it's in a different file, I guess. That's why it doesn't want to click me to it. I mean, PyCharm can still figure, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's not Python code. Here it's validating that whatever value was passed has to be equal to this. It's kind of interesting that this exists if it validates against an exact number. I guess maybe there's a case where it makes more sense. Or maybe there's a case where it validates against an exact number, but the exact number is dynamic based on other parameters. Like if parameter A is this, then parameter B has to be Y, right? Like, and then in that case, in the C code here, it would validate with validate int. Just this would be generated dynamically, not hard-coded. Or hard-coded to multiplication of another hard-coded thing. Okay. I'm good with that. I think that makes sense. I don't know for sure why that was there. I mean, I would have been the one to put it there, I think, because I added this, so most likely that's on me. Perhaps it was anticipation of supporting different systems or something. I don't know if different PCs would be wanting 8 versus 16. Or what? This got changed over to be stereo representation. Basically all the spots where that's listed. It does take extra endpoints. But remember, you have to enable this explicitly, right? So in your bootpy thing here, this is how you enable it. And if you don't do this, then it won't be taking those endpoints. So if you're like trying to have those endpoints for other things, then you can always still do that. Although I do think one consequence of this change is because this always presents stereo. Is that true? Yeah, because this always presents stereo now, I think your choice is on or off of off gives you 4 endpoints that you can do whatever you want with. On gives you -4 endpoints because 2 are used for output, 2 are used for input. Or you could actually do only output or only input. So you could do only 2 get used, I think. That's true. Yeah. But I think the thing that we do lose is the ability to do both input and output with only 2 endpoints. Used to be that's what it was. It was input and output, and it was only 2 endpoints. And then I think now, in order to get input and output, you're always going to be 4 endpoints. It could still potentially be changed. Like some of this could be modified to dynamically check stereo, potentially. Instead of just always presenting as stereo, maybe it could have an API. Well, it does have the API of channel count, but maybe it could check that and say, like, use less inputs. I'm not sure. It may not. That may be easier said than done. I may be simplifying what's actually possible, but my description looks like that got cleaned up a bit too. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, this is going to be one of the things I'm looking at this week for sure, is trying this out. And then if I recall correctly, I want to say, yeah, mono output through microphone results in random noise. I'll test this, and if this is still the case, we've had like the, well, I don't think any of the other fixes would be related to this. So presumably we'll still have this, and I'll try to fix it Mono input through speaker results in distorted audio. Those might be tied together, honestly. Just a mono problem. Input through speaker. Yeah, the good thing about this module, though, USB audio, is like it's very easy since it goes USB back to the host, and a CircuitPython device already connected to the host with USB for REPL and file storage, right? So this makes it actually very easy to set up the agent harness to be able to run tests on the device, output audio to it through USB speaker, because the agent can just play audio with a play or whatever and set it to come out that speaker endpoint, and then use code on the device to like validate the audio that came through, make sure it's good or not. And then vice versa also with the other way, it can put code on the device to generate sound and send it through the USB, which it can then record, not with Audacity like I did, but it can record it with, I think, a record or maybe FFmpeg too, I'm not sure. But it can do all sorts of processing and stuff as well afterwards, so it can analyze the audio. It can't listen to it the same way a human ear can, but it can like run statistics on it to check whether it matches what's expected. This is somewhat functional, but an issue with the device descriptors causing distortion. Interesting. The descriptors causing distortion. Okay, so I'll look into that as well. Mikey said, what? Tiny USB just merged. Oh, that's what that rename was. Okay, I was going to say Audio 20 thing. Yeah. Oh. Oh, yeah, I remember looking into this, actually, from this link a couple weeks back. Which this is how I learned that Linus Torvalds has a guitar pedal repo, which is kind of weird. Interesting. Cool stuff, though. There's like, it's a cool repo. It has hardware and stuff in there as well for anyone interested in this kind of stuff. There's Linux, as you might imagine, Linux software to run it. But there in this repo is also hardware files and stuff. If you wanted to build one of these, you could. Stuff. Oh, look at that. Out there working on it somewhere. Okay. I think that's gonna be about it for today. Let me check in. Did this do anything interesting? Got no more fails, which is good. So I'll keep an eye on this today, see if that succeeds. USB audio, like I said, that's the next thing I'm gonna look into. I do also have another audio effect still, so I pushed Flanger and created that PR today. I have another one in waiting as well. I have a ring modulator, but it is not in as finished of a state. I haven't done any cleanup, and I've done way less testing on it than Audio Flanger. So I do need to clean that up, do some more testing, but I'll submit that one maybe next week, or later on this week, potentially. Although I'm out Friday, so I only have 2 more days this week, so we'll see. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for me today. So thank you to everyone who watched along. Thanks to everyone who, catches the VOD in the future. Like I did say a couple of times, check back later today, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, JP's product pick. You can get yourself a nice discount, all while helping support open source software, which I think is really cool. So thanks for doing that. If you do, thanks for just watching along. Even if you don't, that's cool as well. Yeah, like I said, no stream for me this weekend on my channel, but I'll be back Tuesday next week here on the Adafruit channel. I think that's all I've got, so I will just say so long, farewell, and see you next time.